At the start of the movie, we see a video where a family is enjoying themselves by the ocean. In the following scene, we see four friends heading somewhere for a vacation, accompanied by two brothers and their buddies. As they traveled down the highway, they encountered a car blocking the road directly in their path. The driver, named Brian, had to bring the car to a stop. There was a man standing outside the car, seeking assistance. The man approached him and pleaded, "Please, can you guys help me?" However, Brian declined and starts driving away from there. Despite this, the man outside persisted in seeking assistance. He was approaching their car with a tool in hand. As he did this, everyone looked at him and sensed that something might be amiss. Then they looked at the man's car, where a little girl was sitting. The girl had a mask on her face with blood on it. Witnessing this, all four of them became frightened. Brian pulls his car to the side and drives away. It is revealed that the man's daughter was a victim of the same virus spreading slowly across the world. It was a highly dangerous virus. Anyone infected with it would only survive for a few hours before succumbing to it. As of now, there is no vaccine available for this virus. There we witness that as Brian and his friends were moving the car to the side, the petrol pipe breaks, causing gasoline to spill out. Now, stranded without fuel, their car comes to a halt some distance away. Brian and his friends find themselves on a deserted highway with no one else in sight. With no other choice, they had to return to the same man who initially asked for their help, as he was their only hope for assistance. They all agreed and gathered their belongings before heading back to the man. Brian, who was armed, led the way. After walking a bit, they reached the man again. Brian approached him and straightforwardly said, "We need your car." But the man countered, saying, "All right, I'll give you my car, but you have to agree to my condition first." He explained that there was a hospital in a nearby city. There, a doctor has developed a vaccine for this virus. If you agree to leave me and my daughter at that hospital, then you can take my car. Upon hearing this, Brian exclaimed, "Are you out of your mind? No vaccine has been developed for this virus yet." However, the man did not respond to Brian's objection. They all agree to the man's conditions. They seat the man and his daughter in the back of the car, ensuring the area is well covered with plastic to prevent the virus from spreading to the others. They then clean up the car and get inside, starting their journey again. Soon, they spot another car in the distance. Brian and his brother approach it to siphon off some gas, hoping it will help them along their way. When Brian's brother opened the door of that car, he was startled to find a man sitting inside who appeared very lethargic. It was evident that he too had been infected with the virus. His body was decaying. When Brian's brother attempted to retrieve the car keys, the man suddenly regained consciousness. Startled, Brian's brother quickly shut the door of the car again. Nevertheless, they managed to get the gas and reach the city. However, what awaited them was a scene of eerie calm. The city resembled more of a graveyard, with corpses strewn all around. Now that they had arrived at the hospital where the man needed to go, they all entered the building. However, the man instructed his daughter to stay in the car. Upon hearing this, Brian's friend Bobby also insists on staying there because she didn't want to leave the little girl alone. However, Brian cautioned Bobby, saying, "Stay away from the girl and don't touch her. This virus spreads very quickly." They proceeded inside the hospital, where an eerie silence greeted them. There seemed to be no one around. However, they spotted a child who led them to the doctor who had developed the vaccine. Approaching the doctor, the man pleaded, "I need the cure for this virus to save my daughter, who is also infected." The doctor regretfully replied, "I'm sorry, but a cure for this virus has not been developed yet. It's a medicine that boosts protein levels in the body, and only those who can tolerate this protein can survive." The doctor begins administering the medicine to a child, causing everyone to intervene and stop him. But the doctor insisted, "If you have any other way to save these children, please tell me." Upon hearing this, everyone fell silent. Meanwhile, outside, when Bobby was near the child, she sees that the child's condition worsens. Unable to hold herself back, Bobby removes all covers and tries to help the child. Suddenly, the child started vomiting blood and some of it splashed onto Bobby's face. This implied that Bobby could now be infected as well. She had only gone there to save that poor child, unaware that she would herself become a victim of the virus. Bobby quickly cleaned herself up afterwards. In the meantime, Brian and the others also arrived. However, Bobby kept quiet about what happened. Instead, she informed the man that his daughter had fainted but was now completely fine. The man was relieved to hear this news. He informed the four that he and his daughter would remain at the hospital. They were free to leave. Everyone was pleased with this decision except Brian's brother. He felt uneasy about leaving them alone. After driving a short distance, they thoroughly cleaned the car. They then arrived at a nearby hotel with the intention of enjoying themselves. However, upon arriving, they discovered that the hotel was deserted except for the four of them wandering around. Brian noticed that Bobby was becoming weaker. He asked her, "Are you okay?" She replied, "Yes, I'm fine," without mentioning anything about the infected girl vomiting on her. Afterward, Brian sensed something in the pool and upon investigation, discovered a corpse submerged in the water. Shocked and frightened, Brian nearly fell into the pool due to fear. Brian's brother noticed him and swiftly came to his rescue. He suggested they take a break and have some fun. They decided to play golf, where they enjoyed themselves and relaxed. At night, while Brian's brother and his friend were wandering around the hotel, A man approached them holding a flashlight. Mistaking him for Brian, they called out to him, but he didn't respond. They were both frightened and started running away from the man with the flashlight. They found a place to hide, trembling with fear. Meanwhile, outside, Brian encountered another man and apprehended him. There were other companions of the man who had apprehended these four. They were all wearing covers, and inquired about their captured companion. Brian explained, "When we arrived here, there was no one around. However, I did find a man's dead body in the pool. Perhaps he is your companion." When they went to see, it turned out to be their companion who had died due to the virus. They solemnly cremated his body. Afterward, they instructed Brian and his brother to depart. However, they apprehended the girls. They frightened the girls with their guns and demanded that they strip down. Upon Bobby removing her clothes, red marks appeared on her body, signaling the onset of the virus affecting her. This caused fear among them all. Brian directed his friends to depart. During the journey, no one was talking to Bobby on the way. Everyone was upset with her, especially Brian, who had cautioned Bobby to stay away from the little girl. While they were refueling at a gas station, Brian's brother's friend approached him. She cautioned that in order to stay alive, they must stay away from Bobby. He then conveyed this warning to Brian, but Brian was unwilling to listen to anything. A short while later, Brian stopped the car and instructed Bobby to get out. However, Bobby was reluctant to be left alone. She pleaded with Brian, "I'll sit in the back like we had that girl sit, but please don't leave me alone." Despite her plea, Brian remained unmoved. They left Bobby behind. After continuing a short distance, they encountered another car approaching. Brian halted his car in front of it. His brother stepped out and appealed, "Please help us. We have a long way to go and we've run out of food." Both women in the car suspected that Brian and his group were infected with the virus. They attempted to reverse their car away. Angered by their reaction, Brian drew his gun and began firing at the women. Consumed by rage, Brian acted without thinking clearly. A bullet from his gun struck one of the women, and she dies. In retaliation, the other woman emerged from her car and shot Brian in the leg, causing him injury. Brian then shot and killed the woman who had injured him. Despite being wounded himself and in considerable pain, Brian's brother helped him into the car and drove away from the scene. Further down the road, they came across a house where Brian's brother found some medicine and applied it to Brian's injured leg. While doing this, he noticed a similar mark on Brian's leg as the ones Bobby had on her body, indicating that Brian was also infected with the virus. Now his brother placed him in the back of the car and drove away. Later that night, they sat in the forest around a fire. Brian's condition deteriorated because those infected with this virus were known to suffer severely. Brian's brother's friend said to him, "Brian is asleep. Go and get the car keys. We can't stay with Brian any longer, or we might also become infected with the virus." He goes and takes the gun and keys from Brian. Then Brian wakes up. He says, "Brother, you took the wrong keys. I have the actual key to the car. You'll get it when you finish me." However, his brother didn't want to do anything like that. Brian expresses, "I'd rather not perish from illness. It's preferable if my brother ends me." He pleads, "Please, bring it to an end." His brother fulfills his request and ends him. Afterwards, he cremated Brian's body. Then he departed with his friend. Finally, they arrived at the destination where all four of them wanted to go. But now there were only two of them. After arriving here, Brian's brother was reminiscing about old memories of him and Brian. They often used to come together to the seashore, but today Brian wasn't with him. Bobby's mistake drove everyone apart. Sometimes helping someone ends up costing us. Just like what happened to poor Bobby. She simply wanted to help that kid. Little did she know that this mistake would distance her from her friends. And poor Brian, who knew nothing, just wanted to be with Bobby. He too got caught in the turmoil. And with that, the story comes to an end.